Many of you may be just like me. I'm an outgoing, talkative, friendly, caring, and supportive person. In May 2012, I was 18 and in my senior year of high school. I already applied to colleges and was excited to attend my senior prom. I was ready to have the time of my life, but little did I know that my life was going to change in an instant. Testicular cancer is actually the most common type of cancer in males between the ages of 15 to 34 years old. Yet, not that many people have heard of it. About a week before my prom, I was at home watching television and had a simple itch. That itch ended up being the most important itch of my entire life. I felt something hard, something I hadn't noticed before. I went to the doctor's a few days later, and he said the words I never thought I would hear. You have cancer. You have cancer. When the doctor said those words, my world stopped. All I could think of is, what would my future be like? I had no idea. What about college? What about life? What about kids? At 18 years old, you don't really think about having children. That usually comes later in life. Would I even want to have them? All these questions kept popping in my head, and I thought endlessly about. After researching more about testicular cancer, I realized that it's a very beatable cancer if detected early. It's actually 99% beatable if detected early. On the morning of my surgery, I went to the hospital, got checked in and sat in the waiting room where I was sitting with my family. I'd actually just ordered a movie poster off eBay and it was supposed to arrive later that afternoon, so that helped me a lot because I was super nervous. Fortunately, the surgery didn't take long and I was able to come home later that same afternoon. After that, I thought that everything was okay and my nightmare was finally over. But it turned out the worst hadn't even started. After having more scans, such as CAT scans, x-rays, and even more blood work, I found out that I needed to have surgery. I also found out that I needed to have 9 weeks of chemotherapy. When I hear the word chemo, you might think of someone with no hair. I couldn't imagine losing my hair. It's always been something that's been so important to me, and everyone who knows me knows that. But when I think of the word chemo, I think of someone who is strong, empowered, and who has the determination to survive. When I first walked into the chemo room, I was the youngest person in the room, which actually shocked me. I didn't think people like me could get cancer, especially being at such a young age. I remember asking my mom, "This is it? Chemo won't be hard." I later found out this statement would be far from the truth, but if you have the strength and determination to get through it, you can do anything. I participated in a program called Cancer to 5K shortly after I was in remission. During my chemo treatments, I would get an IV inserted in my arm every day. At first, it was usually just about 1 or 2 pricks, but as time progressed, they became more frequent. I remember one day, it must have been at least 8 times, or it felt like that many. I was visibly shaken, frustrated, annoyed, mad, and started to tear up. There was this lady sitting next to me. She noticed my struggle and was trying to comfort me in any way she could. I don't remember how the conversation came up, but I remember her telling me that my song is Some Nights by the band Fun. Every time I hear that song, I feel so much more in my element and it gives me strength. Once I joined Cancer to 5K, every time I needed to get through that last lap of running, I would often play that song and it would help, I would be like the Flash. Throughout my cancer treatment, I would often see this couple in the treatment center. The husband, Dan, was receiving treatment for lung cancer, and his wife, Christine, was his caregiver. Dan and Christine have huge hearts, and they're incredible people. It was nice having someone to connect with and relate with, And Christine, being Dan's caregiver, was able to relate with my mom, who was my caregiver. She actually took off about 3 months of work just to sit with me in chemo every day. The entire cancer experience has allowed me to meet many amazing survivors, caregivers, and other people who were affected by cancer in some way. When I started this journey, I was in high school and immature. I always say things happen for a reason, you just don't necessarily know what those reasons are. I think I was meant to help others, and I will definitely say that this experience has changed my life. In a good way, though. I'm able to share my experience, share my story, but most importantly, share my strength. No one thinks that they're ever going to have cancer. When you hear the words, "you have cancer," your life changes forever. This was just my story. There are millions of others out there, unfortunately, but we can help lower that number, at least with testicular cancer, by making sure that everyone is aware of testicular self-exams. Doing a monthly testicular self-exam only takes a few minutes, but can save your own life or the life of someone else by telling them about it. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell anyone you know that's in that age range, 15 to 34 years old. To learn more information about testicular cancer, you can visit the Testicular Cancer Foundation's website at tcancer.org. I also have brochures here at my table that you can visit and ask any questions that you need. And I also wanted to thank the City Tap House for having this Saturdays Are for the Boys event benefiting the Testicular Cancer Foundation. So thank you, and remember to chat.